Watching a conversation about secularism in the Renaissance and postmodern era would be like watching a Gen Z talking to their boomer grandparents. Secularism, almost like a trend, spread and expanded through the years. Like boomers, the Renaissance was the start of something new, something great at the time. Meanwhile, Generation Z, being raised in a postmodern period where secular reigns supreme, can fully see the effects of secularism as it evolved through the years. This shift in philosophy and understanding of religion was the fruit of this expansion. As it reaches more people, more perspective reaches the conversation while the world argues the significance of religion in a secular society. In fact, we can see this in our postmodern plays as the movie assigns one character who works on perceiving the traditional religious way of thing, while the other character vouches for progression and change. A good example of this is The Doubt 2008.
The church needs to change.
The point being?
We should be friendlier.
As explained before, award-winning movie The Doubt argues the importance of religion as secularism was introduced. The movie did this by putting Meryl Streep's character, Sister Aloysius, who commit herself to preserve traditional values in a Catholic school, against Father Flynn, who was played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who pushes for change and progression in the Catholic school. In a twisted way, this movie tells us why religious systems fall while also showing an example of how progression and religion are often pitted against each other, oftentimes painting one side as the lesser option. In this case, we learn that it's both. The religious system set up by the Western society is corrupted and progression may be a mask to hide unjust things. However, as said before, the postmodern society are viewing secularism from a different angle, being raised in a different environment compared to the Renaissance. Being raised in a secular world, the postmodern society notices the lack this philosophy brings to the table and reconsiders religion as the answer to the existential questions of life, which lead to the expansion of transcendentalism, which started in the Enlightenment period. In a secular society, we are left to decide morality and ethics on our own. When talking about the plays of the Renaissance period, it would be a crime to not mention the two greatest and most iconic playwrights of the era, Marlowe and Shakespeare. Studied as a staple in society's education or syllabus, Marlowe and Shakespeare carved their name in history as rivals who both starved for greatness. Of course, you might be wondering why. Why are these Renaissance plays so great and why are we so obsessed with them? Well, I may not be able to answer that question, but may I suggest the themes of humanism and individualism play a part as it celebrates human potential. Another thing about Renaissance drama was the secular themes, which when compared to the traditional and religious themes of the medieval age, feels like a breath of fresh air. Not only did Shakespeare carve his name in drama history through his works, he also contributed linguistically as he coined new terms.
But for the dread of something after death.
Shakespeare and Marlowe earned their name in history as they contributed a lot to the playwriting innovation by experimenting with language and characterization, even going as far to explore the diverse human experience by tapping into the complex human emotions and psychology via characters in the play. A perfect showcase of these features can be seen in Marlowe's Dr. Faustus and Shakespeare's Hamlet. One part of secularism's rise in Western society is the decline in religious faith in society, which can also be seen in the fall of the religious systems in the period. The main reason for this chain of events was fueled by the Black Death, also known as the bubonic plague, leaving the Western civilization in pain and misery as lives were stolen by the pandemic. After the Black Death, people were questioning the existence of God, asking questions such as, if there is God, why didn't He help us? Why did He let us suffer? Surely He would, or could it be He does not exist? This is the cue for the decline in religious faith, which also ultimately lead to the rise of secularism. Safe to say, lives weren't the only thing the Black Death, also known as the Plague, as the Western society's faith in religion also faded and died from the plague. As a result, the Catholic Church lost its power and reputation, and people were challenging their religious concepts while religious revolutions were happening or were on the move. And with classical knowledge and literature revived, the education in the Renaissance changed as more theories were introduced and discussed among the public, who by then had help from the technological innovations of the time. These factors contributed to the significant increase of intellectualism during the Renaissance period. Which brings us to no surprise as society was becoming better at spreading knowledge among the masses. In return, the Renaissance period brought the birth of many well-known innovators, artists, and iconic intellectual figures. Think Leonardo da Vinci, Niccolo Machiavelli, and of course, Shakespeare. The significance of these contributions can be seen in our education system as they become a staple in our education syllabus to this day, even as technology progresses. The debate on secularism has been ongoing for centuries and will continue to be debated in our current era and beyond.
What we're talking about is a principle more than a value, the principle of secularism and the way it should be applied and implemented.
It is a complex topic with many layers and nuances, and its impact on society is far-reaching. As we continue to observe the evolution of this concept, we must remain mindful of its effects on our lives and the world, especially with how things are going.
Assalamualaikum.
Over the course of this,
I thought I would show you how the Clear Quran looks because I know a few of you did have questions about it. I'm currently still.
I don't believe in God, and yet I'm reading the Quran for the first time.
The Western civilization are seeing a new side of religion, the beauty in Islamic faith, which leads us to question, just how much longer will secularism be important?